Okay, thank you for coming on this riveting topic, right?
Yeah.
Richard Sakuma is one of the commissioners that remain on the Strawberry Commission, which is really having some identity crisis. Let's put it that way. We're trying to figure out exactly what the interest is and where we're going, and Richard can best kind of give you a little background on what brought us to this point. So Richard's going to lead us off.
Okay, thanks, Henry. So I don't know, looking back over the year here, or over many years, it's just volumes of strawberries have been in decline, and interest in the commission. So I think beginning of this year, we started, as a board, discussing the possibility of dissolving the commission. So I believe in the spring, Mike, we voted to discontinue. And so that was our course. I mean, as a board, we voted to discontinue the commission early on in the year. And so Walter Swenson, our administrator, began the process of disbanding us. So, and in that process, he had a course that he was following that he felt was the most expedient way to accomplish that. And in that process, he came across the state's protocol to disbanding which was a lot different from his idea. And so there began to be some conflict there. And that was around May, June when all this started. I think there was a news release I saw in Capital Press stating that. And so I think industry-wise, you guys probably heard that it was going to be the end of this commission. So that was a course we were taking. But then around July, August, I think the state started asking more questions about whether we should or not. I know they called me. My opinion was I thought there was some value there, and potentially we should look into the potential of fresh volume helping us. And so I think in September or so, I believe with the help from the Department of Ag, we gathered the commissioners who were still interested in being on the board to have a meeting. So there was 4 of us. There's myself, Mike, Sam Spooner, Kurt Clicker from Eastern Washington, and then the board or the Department of Ag rep. And so we had a quorum. We met and decided to continue, or just to see what the potential was for the rest of the future of the commission. So in that process, I took on the role of interim chair for this year, which I thought I can handle for a couple months, till the end of this year. And then the Department of Ag would serve as their administrator. And then Henry and Alan have helped us organize a few conference calls and doing some outreach to see if there was enough interest out there to maybe I don't know, here's what was thrown out on the table earlier on was combining the fruit commissions or strawberries in with blueberries or raspberries. Just as a big concept out there. But yeah, there's just the volume thing always hits you in the face. What's the volume? What are the dollars? So we knew that would be a tough call, but that's where we're at. We're pursuing that line. I'm not sure where we are as far as that combining the commissions, but we're here to see if there's any interest. And maybe, so we did have 2 outreach conference calls that actually weren't well attended or weren't attended at all, the second one. So that kind of right there told us that, hey, this is probably not the most popular thing to carry on. But I still believe myself that there's this venue that's been around since 1980, in the 1980s or so, and I don't know. I just was thinking that there was some way we can keep it going, but I don't know. So, Alan, do you want to, Henry, add your thoughts? But I was really thinking Fresh could pull us, help revive us a bit. You know, I think with, I know some of the Fresh work I was doing, I thought maybe, well, that'd be worth pursuing. And keeping research, you know, being a part of research. I mean, we're still doing what other commissions are doing with limited funding. You know, plant breeding, weed management, and insects. So we were working with the researchers in that, just like everyone else was. We just had limited funds. So,
right. And we will just add that Ellen and I kind of volunteered a little time because most of the people we grow with, one of us probably may grow strawberries too. So we did, and I guess both of us believe that commissions are places where you can actually cooperate amongst the industry to get things done, if that's what people want to do. We believe in the what commissions can do. There's power within commissions, and they're hard to create. Probably not that hard to shut down, but if you shut it down, it's going to be really hard to come back and recreate something. So before you have a vote, and that's what has to happen. The Department of Agriculture doesn't just do this on the fly. They have rules that they have to follow, and they will have a referendum of the remaining strawberry growers that they have on their list to determine whether or not they want to shut down the and I think that's coming out fairly soon, right? That was my understanding.
Well, we'll have a board meeting next week, early, I think it's Monday or so.
The Department of Ag told us that they were going to email out. It's not actually a referendum. It's kind of a vote, and they're going to, for every strawberry grower that they've got an email address for, they're going to mail out a ballot, and email out a ballot. If you're a strawberry grower, you're supposed to get it, and you're supposed to say you want to continue or not continue. You're also supposed to put your pounds in so they can get an assessment of how many growers and how many pounds the people who do vote represent. And it's my understanding that with the conversations we've had and with that vote, the Department of Ag is going to they're going to take a vote, present it to the board, and the board will, I guess, make a decision whether to continue or not continue the Strawberry Commission. And so this meeting here is the last attempt at outreach and to communicate what's going on with the Strawberry Commission. And if you grow strawberries, you're going to get a chance to do thumbs up or thumbs down on whether to continue a Strawberry Commission. So,
right.
Do we want to turn it over for questions?
Yeah, let's do that. It's just input, anyone?
Questions or input or any thoughts about this?
Tim?
Curious, you mentioned combined effort. Is part of the decision going to be?
No, it's the decision is going to be, it's up or down. That wasn't an option, or that's not going to be an option. It's thumbs up or thumbs down.
Okay.
Randy, yeah.
I'm assuming that the production for the state is acres in production are dwindled down to
5 million pounds and
500 acres.
35,000 to 35 to 40,000 in
So it's
assessments.
about impossible to have a budget to do
Right,
good.
right.
Yeah,
And to
right.
build it, well, here I'm talking a little negative, but I mean it would be an uphill battle to build enough to fund enough activities to build it and promote it
If you're going to do
and
it,
sustain it.
one of the challenges that the commission had was they actually weren't assessing all of the strawberry growers. They were assessing some of the strawberry growers, like most of the larger ones, but not most of the medium and small sized growers. So I think there's more money out there. Also, I think there is an opportunity to get some research grant funding to do things. I think you could probably get $40,000 worth of assessments if we worked a little harder at it. And I think you can probably get another $40,000 worth of grant money to do things. But with the decline of the strawberry industry, we really are on the ragged edge of having a viable industry and generating enough money to have a viable commission. And if the Strawberry Commission is going to continue, we're going to have more growers come to meetings and have more involvement than what we've had in the last couple of years. Anything else? We got one more strawberry topic for you besides this, but anybody want to say anything or ask anything? What's that?
I do strawberries in Canada along with raspberries, and sometimes our budget isn't as great. We were primarily a processed market, but we are now primarily fresh. And so we annually run a fresh campaign to support our growers that grow strawberries. About 80,000. So, and that is with, again, like you said, grants and funding, and we do a lot of cooperative programming with raspberries because I'm in the same office, so we do a lot of shared costs. Yeah, we have a memorandum of understanding with raspberries that strawberries pays a lesser amount to sort of a lease rate. So it's easy to do, but like he says, if you get rid of it, it'll never come back because it's hard, and it's a commodity that is the first of the berries of the season. It starts off berries. So fight for it. And we do, plant breeding. We actually have a variety that is pretty close. So that's our primary first.
I think we also are thinking that if the Strawberry Commission stayed around, and we're a little biased because we believe in the commission system. Of course, that feeds us. But we think that if it would continue, it would probably need to be housed within perhaps one of our offices or another office where there'd be some shared cost and some sheltering of it. Because almost everyone that grows strawberries grows blueberries or raspberries. So it would be a model similar to what you're on.
Problem I think we've already identified is we've got about a half dozen frozen growers that are paying all the bills, and about 80, I think there's 70 to 80, a little bit higher than that even, that are on the WSDA growers list for strawberries, all fresh. Most small, and most of them probably don't even know a commission exists. Well, we spent a lot of time and emailing and calling just to volunteer to try to get them to be part of the discussion. And we had 2 conference calls that were all set up at the WSDA to have them come in. And I think Richard, John Clark was on. Yes, they were the only 2 that participated. So it tells us something, obviously, that right now there's a lot of apathy, but the WSDA is committed to keeping this thing rolling through the end of the year, and that's about a month away. And after that, they will proceed to, unless they hear something really different from this email list, they will proceed to shut the thing down. But David, still here? Nope.
I don't know, Richard. What do you and Johnny think? I mean, is this thing working? Yeah. It seems like to me it's just going to be real tough to do. There might be all those 80 little growers, but most of them probably have a quarter acre beside their lettuce or something. You know,
And the cost to organizing a group like that and to getting continuity and then
Right.
I mean, and that's not enough volume at this time. You know, I think there's potential volume with the fresh. I mean, to me, there's potential of 10,000 pounds per retail store out there. That I think.
yeah, it's not big volume.
Well,
you
I mean,
know,
right.
Right.
Yeah.
not with California stuff to compete
Yeah.
against and everything. And you know, and the few guys that are still doing it frozen are up here anyway. You know, all you ever hear, I mean, they're just
Yeah, and
1
that's
or 2 years
year
away.
to year.
Yeah,
But it's been that
year-to-year
way
deal.
for 15 years, it seems like. But
Yeah, but
I
every
mean,
year,
but
John,
there's
you
no-
want to keep saying this is it.
I mean, there's no growth there. Or, I mean, we're not
Right.
looking to grow that or increase.
Exactly.
And that's pretty flatlined. It's just that, yeah, there is a venue here that works. It's just the need. I look at there's not the need like there are in the other commissions. You know, that people grower base want things, you know, need things, and the strawberries. It's just there's not enough awareness on the fresh, and the need on the process side just isn't that great, I guess. Yeah.
Right. I do know, like Sam Spooner, he would like to see it keep going. I'm sure with a few of those other fresh guys down there. But
Yeah.
there again, that's
But it's
such a small amount
yeah.
of pounds.
I don't know how you would fund administrating and activities and be productive. But
The only way you can do it is get
grant.
assessments from as
Yeah.
many people as
Right.
possible and go after some grants and have it in with another commission. Both Henry and I operate multiple entities, most of which wouldn't stand by themselves, but you put a few together and it kind of spreads out the administrative costs. You can do it, but you can't do it unless the growers are all going to participate and be involved and pay assessments. John?
And looking at this, the number that you have there, we contribute about 20% to your. We will not be planting this spring. And talking to Marty, they've decreased their acreage by 10 acres in the last year, and Matt as well as reduced. He's down below 50 acres. Unless you can get a whole lot of other fresh growers, it's not sustainable because we're not growing. If anything, we're going the other direction.
We know pounds. We don't know acres. What's your guess, Richard? Are there 500 acres?
Yeah. No, we have 2, 3.
1,200 acres.
Pardon? Oh. How many?
156, is that right? In Whatcom County.
It's hard to believe there's 1,200 acres in the state.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Perry Beal, who works for the Department of Agriculture, does the mapping for the state as far as crops where they're growing and ground proofs it, I guess. So he's saying 1,200 acres or 1,250 or something like that. But generally between 1,000 and 1,500 is kind of operating number.
Okay. Any more questions or any more feedback or content?
Just I want to question Lisa. How many growers do you have?
48.
All fresh.
Very, like, we're down to, I think, 5% processed.
Well,
About 2 million.
okay, we're gonna. So that's the story. If you got any questions or comments, talk to Richard, Henry, or I. We got one more thing to talk about. We're going to turn it over to Dr. Lisa DeVetter from Washington State University.
Great. Thanks, Alan. So I know the fate of the commission is a little bit nebulous for strawberry, but there is still active strawberry research and plant breeding occurring, and we have grant funding that is funding that research through other sources beyond the commission. And so what we have here that I'm presenting you all today is a survey for anyone like a farm owner, a leasee, or a manager, or anyone who is responsible for making decisions about adopting new varieties on your farm. And so Juan is going to be distributing a survey as well as Washeen. So if you fit any of those categories, whether you're in BC or in Washington State, please fill out that survey. And when you're done with that survey, it's about an 8-page survey. It won't take you too long. It really focuses on what are your key trait priorities that you're thinking about as a grower. Please give it to Wendy here. And Wendy is going to give you a ticket. So you're going to write your number on that. And what we have to try to encourage survey responses is a prize. It's a pocket charger for your cell phone. So I have one myself. It's very convenient. Hopefully it'll motivate some people to take a survey. But really, this is how we as researchers try to get feedback from growers so that we can be targeted and address, what are your main priorities and concerns? Because without that feedback, then we're kind of operating in the dark. So please take the time to fill it out for the strawberry growers or individuals that make decisions on adopting new cultivars in this realm. And just another follow-up too about the prize. If you write your number on the ticket, we'll text you if you are the recipient of this prize, and we'll leave it at the front desk for you to pick up. So hopefully that's good motivation. Thank you.
All right. So I guess if you are a strawberry grower and you haven't received a survey, if you just raise your hand, that would be awesome. And as we wrap up here, that is the last of our presentations for today. But as I mentioned, we have a great social hour starting up in a couple minutes at 5 over just next door where the Indian food was this afternoon. And we'd definitely like to thank our sponsors, Oregon Blueberry Farms and Nursery, Berry Hill, Larson Gross, and Northwest Farm Credit Services. And like I said, I think it's going to be real tasty. It's a food truck called Back East Barbecue.
Our love was meant to be kind of love that lasts forever. And I want you here with me from tonight until the end of time. You sit down everywhere I go. Always on my mind, in my heart, in my soul. Baby, you're